We also want to make sure that our shoulders stay down in all of these stretches because it trains our body slightly differently if we allow it to shrug. And we want to make sure that our dancers are making their necks nice and long because that's what we need for when we're out on stage. A few of the upper body stretches that I like to have our dancers do would be stretching out our arms, keeping our arm nice and straight and pulling it across our body, making sure that we keep our shoulders down and pulled back, just like the rest of the time that we should be dancing. We can hug our arm and make sure that we're pulling it and stretching it just a little bit more. When we do this, though, we have to be really careful not to pull on the joint. So we don't want to be grabbing the elbow, we want to be grabbing above it. This movement can also be done over the head, in which case, again, we want to keep our shoulders down to be able to stretch. We want to make sure that we, of course, do both sides. You never want to be lopsided. Another stretch that I like having our dancers do would be in our back, in which case we want to make sure that we are lengthening up and out of our spine and we can pull that back. And we'll scoop our nose, snake it up. And when we're doing this, we want to make sure that our hips are going towards the ground. We want to be sitting nice and straight, and we reach up. The further you can keep that spine stretched out, the better. Using objects such as a tennis ball or a foam roller are also great ways for dancers to stretch. This can target a little bit deeper than what we can do just with our standard stretches that we often think of. And it can also help relieve some of the muscle tension when we're not always breathing the way we should. And this allows us to control our breathing and focus on getting our muscles to relax so we can better use them with our stretches. Now, whenever these tools are in use, we want to make sure that we are never rolling over our bones or our joints. So, you can use like a tennis ball to gently roll out your hands. It's a place that we tend to take a lot of tension. We forget when we're using them. We'll sometimes clench at the bar, and we don't want to do that. We want to keep our arm and our hand nice and limber. For those that cross train in jazz and hip hop, where we have traditionally more floor work involvement, a tennis ball is nice to be able to help stretch out our arms a bit better. And I'll often just suggest that you start with just holding it in your hand, and if you find a tighter spot, making sure that you just gently hold that for like 8 counts to get it to start to relax. You can do it longer. It usually takes about 24 to 30 counts for a muscle to truly relax and stretch out. So it does depend on what kind of stretching you do need to be working on at the time. But Again, you can stretch that up. Again, making sure you're avoiding your joints like your elbow and making sure that you're just getting the muscles to stretch out. Our arms especially tend to be an area that us dancers don't readily focus on, and we don't realize how much we actually need those muscles working nicely for us. You can also take the ball and work your upper arm, and you'll probably find that your biceps and triceps are also a bit angry in there. And again, just make sure that you're gently rolling them out. You can also use the foam roller for that. So you can foam roll your forearm, and you can foam roll your tricep, and you can get your bicep. Foam rollers are also great for stretching out our backs, in which case you can let the foam roller just relax. Oftentimes we take a lot of tension in our lower to mid backs from all the leg work we do. Sometimes we hold our tension in our upper backs and our shoulder areas, especially if we've had a rough week. We tend to mentally take things out on our upper bodies. When you're doing this, you can add in extra work so you're engaging more muscles, and you can turn this into a full core workout, but for today's purposes, you want to make sure that you're keeping everything nice and lengthened, and just gently stretch that all out, getting all the way up to the shoulder blades. For those who are tighter in the shoulder blades, you can run this parallel with your spine, and you can stretch out more in the shoulder blade, which again, we need that mobility for when we are working our allonge. Along with some of the tension that we hold, like I said, we sometimes take that out in our upper bodies, and it does not help us when we're clenching in our face. That pulls up in our neck, and that has a trickle-down effect on our bodies. So without targeting pressure points, we want to kind of relax our neck. So one of the things we'll do is we'll just kind of gently pull down the neck muscles just to get them kind of moving and a little warmed up. And then we'll find just a spot in the muscle area right at like the base of the neck where it tends to rise up, and just gently hold the two fingers. You're not trying to like apply too much pressure in your neck. It's just so you can relieve some of the tension and just let it relax. Hold it for about 8 counts, and then you can switch positions. Hold that for another 8. We usually do this like 3 times, so that way we can kind of target different areas, and then we'll gently pull that up. To reverse that and show you, you want to, again, avoid the spine and just find a gentle area and pull that down and out. And then you can hold for 8 counts and just, and find one more, and then gently stretch that out. Another thing we can do to help get that to relax is to also interlock your fingers and let your neck and shoulders just relax in this position. And then you can slowly start to tilt and just let your arms kind of take pressure on your head and just gentle stretch. You should not be pulling or anything. These stretches help to alleviate, like I said, some of the common things that I see, especially for my adults. I see a lot of people when they've been tensed up from work, take it out in their shoulders and their face and everything, and we have a hard time getting our shoulders to be put down so we can use them properly. And this should just be a gentle, easy way to get those muscles to play nicely with you.